Well, hello everybody and welcome to Chef's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make a lemon and blueberry Frangipane Tart. So this is going to have a pâté sucré sort of biscuit type tart case, and it's going to be filled with almond frangipane with blueberries on the top. But between the frangipane and the tart case I'm going to brush a lemon syrup, and I'm going to put some zest into the frangipane as well, and then as the tart cools down I'm going to brush the top with more lemon syrup, so we'll have a lemon flavour, the blueberries and the frangipane combined. Now it does take a little bit of time because we have to chill the pastry until it's nice and firm. Then we have to bake the pastry, chill it, or prick it, It takes some time because we have to make the pastry and then chill it for quite a while until it's firm. Then we need to roll it out and chill it again before we bake it. And then once it's baked we can make the frangipane and fill the tart and bake it. So it should be very, very tasty, and I'll go on to the ingredients. And for the tart case I have 140 grams, which is 10 tablespoons of softened unsalted butter. Then I have 75 grams, which is 6 tablespoons of sugar, 1 medium egg, which would be large in the USA, 230 grams, which is 1 2/3 cups minus 2 tablespoons of plain flour based on scooping packed flour into a 250 milliliter cup, 30 grams, 3.5 tablespoons of corn flour, 3 grams of salt, which is half a teaspoon, and 2.5 milliliters, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then for the frangipane filling I have 113 grams, half a cup of unsalted butter, 100 grams, half a cup of caster sugar, 30 grams, a quarter of a cup of icing sugar. Then I'm going to use 1 medium egg and the yolk of another medium egg. Again, they would be large in the USA. I have 5 milliliters of vanilla extract, 180 grams, that's 1 teaspoon, 180 grams of ground almonds, 1 3/4 cups, 75 grams, half a cup based on scooping packed flour into a 250 milliliter cup of plain flour. And then for the syrup I have here 100 grams, half a cup of caster sugar, and into that I put the zest, about half a teaspoon of lemon zest, and I have here a combination of water and lemon juice, 60 millilitres in total, 30 millilitres of water and 30 millilitres of lemon juice. That's 2 tablespoons of each. I also have 120 grams of blueberries, which as you can see is about 3/4 of a cup. I may not use all of those, they're going to go onto the top, and it depends on how many I need to put on the top. So that's all the ingredients, and I can discard some for the time being, and we'll go on to make the pastry. And to make the pastry I put the butter and the corn flour for the time being and the sugar into my stand mixer with my vanilla extract and my salt, and I'm going to mix those and get them fully combined. And the reason for putting the corn flour in now is to get that mixed in well before the flour goes in. Otherwise I would have to sift it into the flour, in with the flour basically. And that's mixed in well, so I'm going to add my egg and whisk it again, and I'll scrape down the sides. And that's good. So then I'm going to add in my flour, and I'm simply going to mix that until it's all combined. And that's mixed quite nicely. So then I'm going to scrape that out onto some plastic wrap so that we can chill it in the fridge. So this is a very soft dough, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cover that with my plastic wrap, and then I'm going to press it down into a disc. Like that, a rough disc if nothing else, and I'm going to put that into the fridge, and I'm going to chill it until it's really quite firm. That might take about an hour, it may take longer, but I want it to be firm enough so that I can roll it out on a floured surface quite easily. So while that's chilling, we'll go on and we'll make the syrup. So I've put the water, lemon juice and sugar onto the heat, and I brought it up to the boil, and as you can see it's boiling now, and I'm just going to let that boil for 4 minutes, and after 4 minutes I'm going to pour it into a little dish, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like, and we'll let it cool down, ready to use later. So there's our lemon syrup, very, very hot, and it's quite sticky, and as it cools down it's going to thicken up, and it'll be just perfect for brushing on our pastry. So I'll be back with you when the pastry has chilled enough that we can roll it out, and at that time I will have a 9-inch 23cm fluted tart pan with a removable base ready to take the pastry. So I've chilled my dough, and it's soft but it's much firmer. So I've put it onto a floured surface, and I'm just going to make sure it's all brushed with some flour, and I want to roll this out so that it can fit in to my 9-inch 23cm tart tin, probably to about 1/4 of an inch in thickness. And I'll keep turning it to make sure that it doesn't stick. And I'm not very good at rolling, but as circular as possible is a good idea. And I think that's about good enough. So I'm going to roll that up onto my rolling pin. I can see that it's cracking underneath. That's just because it's very short, but that's fine. And if you do crack or if it breaks, you can always patch it. So I'm just going to gently drop this into my pan, my tart tin, and push it down all the way around the edge, like that. Making sure that I'm right into the base of the sides. And then I'm going to press it into the fluted area. And then I'm going to take my rolling pin and I'm going to just roll it across to remove the excess. Now you can actually re-roll the excess and bake it off as biscuits or cookies. They're very, very nice. So where it's a bit fatter, I can press it in just a little bit more. And I don't mind if it overlaps the top, because as it bakes that may shrink down just a little bit. And with that done like, with that done like that, I'm going to put that back into the fridge and I'm going to chill it for between 30 and 35 minutes. That's so that the pastry firms up a little bit. And then when I come back, I'm going to prick it with a fork and we'll bake it in the oven. And for that, I will have my oven preheated at 180 degrees Celsius. That's 160 Celsius with a fan, 350 Fahrenheit. But I'll come back and show you the pastry as we prick it and we'll put it in the oven. So my dough has chilled again in the tart tin, and I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to prick all over the base. And this is to try to prevent the dough from rising as it bakes. So that's good enough, and I'm going to put that into the oven now, and I'm going to bake that for 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes I'll take it out of the oven and allow it to cool down completely. Once it's cooled down completely, I'll come back and we'll go on to make the frangipane filling, fill the tart case and bake our tart. I baked the tart case for 20 minutes, and during that time I broke my egg open and separated the yolk out of the second egg. And then what I did was I actually brushed a little bit of that excess white onto the pastry case and put it back in the oven for 2 minutes. That's just to seal that pastry a little bit. So now it's time to make the frangipane, because my tart case is almost cool. So I put my butter into a larger bowl and I'm going to add in the icing sugar and the caster sugar, and I'm simply going to use a spatula to cream that together a little bit. It should come together quite easily. And that's good like that. So then I'm going to add in my egg and my egg yolk. And I'm just going to use a whisk to mix that in. And I'll put the vanilla extract in and the lemon zest, which I forgot to mention, I think, on the ingredients, but I'll put a note on the screen. That's good like that. So then I'm going to add in my ground almonds and my flour, and I'm going to mix those together, and I'll probably revert to my spatula. And just mix them till they're all combined. And that's good like that. So then I'm going to take my pastry case and I'm going to take the syrup which I created earlier, and I'm just going to brush some of that over the base. Just enough to cover the base like that, that's fine. And then I'm going to put my frangipane on the top, and I'm going to spread that over the base. And my oven is still preheated, or still heated at 180 Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit. I'm trying to get that as level as I can. So then I'm going to take the blueberries and I'm going to put them onto the top. I'm just going to press them slightly. The frangipane should rise up. And I think that's probably enough like that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that into the oven and I'm going to bake it for about 40 minutes. It should rise up and it should begin to brown on the top. And after 40 minutes I'll test it with a skewer, and if the skewer comes out clean, it should still be moist, but the skewer should come out clean. And if it does, I'll take it out of the oven and I'll allow it to cool down for a few minutes. Then I will come back and we'll brush a little bit of syrup over the top, and then we'll cool it completely before we cut it. I baked the lemon and blueberry frangipane tart for 40 minutes. It coloured nicely on the top, and I tested it with a skewer and it came out clean. The skewer was slightly moist, but it came out clean. So for me that means it's done. And so this is what it looks like, and it's still very hot. It's only been out of the oven a couple of minutes, and all I'm going to do now is take a little bit of my lemon syrup which I made earlier, and I'm going to just brush that on the top. That's just to give a little bit of extra lemon flavour, and it will also make the top slightly sticky, of course, as it cools down. So that's that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave this on the counter until it's cooled completely. And once it's cooled completely, I'm going to put it in the fridge and chill it for about an hour. At that stage I'll come back and I'll cut it and we'll have a taste. So I've let the lemon and blueberry Frangipane Tart cool down and I've chilled it off for a little while. So now I've cut a slice. So this is what it looks like on the inside. With that slice, it's nicely baked, and you can see the underside of the crust is baked well as well. So I'll have a taste of this piece. Usually I would serve this as a dessert, obviously, with some cream or some ice cream, but I'll just have a taste as it is. I took rather a large bite of that. It's very, very good. The Frangipane is lovely, and I immediately get that hit of lemon. Just putting that thin layer of the lemon syrup on the base before I put the Frangipane in, and then brushing more on the top afterwards, it's given that lemon flavour. And then the fruitiness of the blueberries. Blueberries don't tend to have too much flavour, particularly when they're cooked, but they do add a little bit to it as well. So this is actually not a difficult recipe, though it does take a little bit of time. And that's going to be it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well, and I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.